Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Hack, and in this video, you're checking out an updated Stamina Warden build for the Elder Scrolls Online. This is the update to our solo Beastmaster build, an extremely easy to play one-bar setup for the Stamina Warden that uses 2 bears, packs a ton of damage, and has amazing survivability. So if you're looking for a build that is a lot of fun to play in a lot of different solo situations, whether it's overland, bosses, dungeons, even veteran dungeons, then this is going to be the build for you. So let's jump right into it. All right, everybody, we are back on the Stamina Warden with an updated solo build for the Flames of Ambition DLC, as well as the Blackwood chapter. We'll actually talk about both of those in this video. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Let's talk about the stats first, see what those look like. Let me buff up a little bit here. So 12,000 max magicka, 21,000 max health, and 37,000 max stamina. Check out our recoveries. Very good on this setup. Almost 2,000 stamina recovery, almost 1,000 magicka recovery. 4,800 weapon damage. That's without one of our sets procced or a back bar glyph, so that gets up well over 6,000 if you want. For the 1-bar setup, we are not running any resistance buffs, though you can obviously, with 2 skill bars, max that out a little bit closer to about 18,000, 19,000 resists on this build. Since we are the Stamina Warden, we've got 64 points into max stamina, running the Lava Foot Soup for max stamina as well as stamina recovery, and the Thief Mundus is going to be the optimal choice for this build. Now, in terms of consumables, potions, you can just use a basic stamina potion. That's totally fine on this build. Or if you want to max out all of your recoveries like I am doing currently, Tri-Stat potions will be very nice for that as well. And then finally, in terms of what race is best, honestly, many races can do very well on the Stamina Warden. For a more beginner-friendly setup, I do like the Orc. This patch, you get max stamina, you get max health, and some very nice healing done. Whenever you deal damage, you get about 2,000 health back every 4 seconds. That's going to be nice, especially when you're starting out brand new. Of course, you also have the extra weapon and spell damage, the extra sprint cost reduction, as well as sprint bonus movement speed. All of these are very nice passives. But like I said, anything can work really well. You could do Wood Elf as a nice choice, Dark Elf for the extra max stats. You could even do Khajiit for the crit damage, Nord for the extra defenses. Plenty of great options out there, so don't feel like you are stuck with whatever you have. You can make it work no matter what. But that's the basic setup, so let's start talking about the gear sets next. Starting with our first 5-piece set, we went with the Essence Thief set. Now, this is from the Imperial City DLC, and it is a dungeon set, so this will take a bit of farming, but it's a medium armor set, very powerful, and if you can pick up 5 pieces on the body, you can make this work. So it gives you 2 max stamina bonuses, 1 weapon damage bonus, and for the 5-piece, when you deal damage with a light or heavy attack, you draw essence from the enemy, pools on the ground for 5 seconds, and walking over that pool is going to heal you, restore stamina back, and increase all of your damage done by 10% for 10 seconds with a 10-second cooldown. So first of all, as long as you are light or heavy attacking consistently, you can have basically 100% uptime on this buff. That's 10% bonus damage, plus lots of healing and resources. So this is really good for any solo stamina build. But I think it works really well on the Stamina Warden because you can push your damage even higher with that 10% bonus. So like I said, this is a medium armor set. 5 pieces on the body will probably be the easiest way for you to run this. So that's the medium chest, waist, hands, legs, and feet. Divines is the optimal trait for maximizing that Mundus Stone. And then stamina enchants on everything. So 5 pieces of Essence Thief first set. Second set, I have changed up a little bit. You obviously have some choices, but I went with Briarheart for the damage as well as the healing. Briarheart is going to be very nice for that. So you get weapon critical, max stamina, weapon critical again, and then when you deal critical damage, you increase your weapon damage by 450. And while this effect is active, your critical strikes heal you for about 300 health. Now this does have a slight cooldown, so that buff won't be up all the time, but when it is up, it's very effective, both for increasing your damage and giving you a little bit of extra healing, which is nice, especially on the 1-bar setup. Now, like I said, there are alternate sets you can run as your main damage set. You could do New Moon Acolyte, which is a crafted set. You could run Spriggans, which I've run on this build in the past. Anything sort of with the damage focused 5-piece is going to be really good for this build. Now we are running Briarheart with the weapons and jewelry. So we got the Briarheart Maul. This counts, remember, for 2 pieces since it is a 2-handed weapon. Then we've got 3 pieces on the jewelry. I just went with the weapon damage enchant for all 3 of these, and I kept robust on here. Though if you have the transmute gems, you can put a combination of infused and bloodthirsty. That's going to help out your overall damage a little bit. But if you don't have that, feel free to leave it as robust. That's pretty good as well. So that's our second 5-piece set, Briarheart. And then to sort of complete the theme of this build, which is the Beastmaster style, right? We have the bear pet, which you might see in the background. We've also got a summoned bear as our monster set. So that's going to be Selene. This gives us a max stamina bonus. And for 2 pieces, when you deal martial melee damage, you call on the primal spirit of the bear. It hits the closest enemy in front of you, does physical damage once every 6 seconds. So a little bit more of the thematic side of the build. It just looks cool. Plus, you have a bear pet already, so you might as well double up on that. So having the 2 bears is kind of nice. Again, we're focused on medium armor on this setup. So if you can get the medium helmet, medium shoulders, that's going to give you 7 pieces of medium total, which is going to be really nice for your sustain, your critical chance, as well as your weapon damage. We'll talk about all of that in the passives in just a second. And then last but not least, if you do want to run 2 skill bars for more damage, a little bit more utility, I would recommend a bow. That's because you can just put arrow barrage on your back bar. Super easy to proc that extra weapon damage like we talked about. This will give you over 6k weapon damage just by using any back bar bow. As long as it's infused, as long as you have the weapon damage enchant, you're good to go. Doesn't have to be a Maelstrom bow. That's just what I happen to have on this character. So there you go. We've got the Briarheart weapons and jewelry. We've got Essence Thief on the body, Selene monster set, and then your bow, any bow of your choice for the back bar if you want to run 2 skill bars. That is it. That is the setup. So let's talk about skills next. I'm going to focus just on the 1-bar setup for this build. If you like more details about anything, including 2 skill bars, that's going to be in the written guide. Check the description down below and in the pinned comment for that link. Much more details over there. But we're going to start with what you would expect on the Stamina Warden. That's Subterranean Assault from the Animal Companion skill line. This does massive AoE damage. Very cheap to cast. It has good passives that you get from the skill line as well. It also casts 2 times in a row after a 3-second delay. So it's actually very easy to fit this into your rotation. Basically casting this and then squeezing in about 3 more abilities and 3 light attacks in between seems to work really well. So we'll talk about that more in the rotation. But this just does good damage. And like I said, many good benefits, passive benefits from using Animal Companion skills. Next up, we got Brawler. So we got the 2-handed skill line active on the 1-bar setup. Brawler is just really nice for any type of stamina-focused solo build. You get good AoE physical damage on top of the damage you're already getting from Sub-Assault. Plus, you get the damage shield. We are scaling this up a little bit with the champion points as well. So it's a really nice way of protecting yourself, especially while solo. And then some of your passive healing can work underneath that damage shield, topping off your health, making it really easy to survive. So I do recommend Brawler, especially for the 1-bar setup. Next up, more damage. Damage over time, actually. This is going to be Growing Swarm. Also from Animal Companions, this is the Stamina Morph. So this is great because it also does damage to nearby enemies. You can see there at the bottom, enemies near the carrier take bleed damage every 2 seconds for the duration. It also applies minor vulnerability, so those enemies are going to take 5% more damage. So very nice damage bonus for us on this solo Stamina Warden. Definitely recommend that. And then we just have some buffs and some healing for our last 2 abilities. So Green Lotus comes from the Green Balance skill line. That's the second to last ability here. And this gives you health based on your light and heavy attacks. So something that's going to be important on this setup if you want to run Green Lotus, make sure you're light attacking between each ability. That's all. You can also heavy attack for even more like a burst heal almost. You also nicely get Major Savagery, so that increases your weapon critical. If you're facing more difficult encounters, you might want to think about running something like Echoing Vigor from the Assault skill line. You now get this right away. Once you do the introduction quest for PvP in the Elder Scrolls Online, you can get this. You don't have to really PvP at all. You can get this. And this is a very nice heal over time. So you just cast it once, and then it lasts for 10 seconds, whether you're light attacking or not. Doesn't matter. So I will throw that on just for some harder fights, especially if I'm going to get stunned. Something to keep in mind. And then our last buff is going to be Bull Netch from Animal Companions. That's our second to last ability here. This gives us stamina sustain. It gives us major brutality. So that's 20% weapon damage. It also removes negative effects. So really nice multiple buffs in one right there from your Bull Netch, plus nice passives from the skill line too. And then speaking of animal companions, we got the ultimate, which is Wild Guardian. So that's going to be our grizzly bear. It does physical damage. Sometimes it does a nice AoE swipe that can also knock enemies down. And then when you use your ultimate, for 75 ultimate, you then can do bonus execute damage. So that means if your enemies are below 25% health, you can do up to double damage. So really nice solo ultimate, I think, for this build. So that's a basic 1-bar setup. Really simple, like I said. If you want more information on 2 skill bars, check out the written guide. But let's do just a quick demo on this world boss over here. So really simple, like I said, you just need to maintain your 2 buffs. So that's going to be Green Lotus, Bull Netch. Keep those up. Then you're going to cast Subterranean Assault and about 3 abilities. So that can be 3 Brawlers. Could be 1 Growing Swarm and 2 Brawlers. Could be Growing Swarm and your 2 buffs. Basically, whatever needs to be recasted at the moment, you can fit that in between your Subterranean Assault. So let's see what that looks like. I'm going to start with Sub Assault, Growing Swarm, a couple of Brawlers here. Now, you'll notice the green light that popped up. That is my Essence Thief, right? So I need to just move over slightly and grab that every time that procs. You can see it's about 10 seconds. Here it is again. Just remember to keep up your dot. Keep up those Brawlers. And then once your buffs get a little bit low, you can see they're getting about 4 or 5 seconds. I'll go ahead and recast those right there. Make sure you pick up your Essence Thief. Keep up that dot. I'm going to go ahead and rebuff right here. Enemy's almost done, so we'll go ahead and finish this off. You can see the healing is really nice. Just the passive healing. You really don't have to worry about it on most bosses. Well, there you go. Bear finished her off. Perfect. Well, there we go. Let's talk a little bit about passives. What passives do you need on the Stamina Warden? So under Animal Companions, all of these are really good. Make sure you get all of them. Bond with Nature gives you a nice little mini heal when you cast those abilities. Savage Beast gives you ultimate back. Flourish gives you recovery. Stamina and Magicka recovery is really high on the Warden because of this. And Advanced Species, look at that extra damage, guys. 8% bonus damage on just a 1-bar setup. That's because all of those Animal Companion abilities gives us 2% for each one that we have. Now in Green Balance, the most important passive here is always Maturation. This gives you the minor toughness buff. So 10% bonus health for 20 seconds. That's actually really good. You can pick up all of these as well. You'll get a little bit of bonus healing, a little bit of extra sustain from the rest of those guys. Now, Winter's Embrace, we're not really using unless you use the 2-bar setup. So you could just pass on a lot of these, to be honest. Yeah, I wouldn't really put many points into here. In terms of weapon passives, yes, all your 2-handed passives are really useful. The best ones here, heavy weapons, you'll want to make sure you pick this up, especially because using a mace, which we are, the Briarheart Maul, this is going to give you 3,300 extra armor penetration. That's going to be really important, especially for the 1-bar setup. When you're running 2 skill bars, you can run something like Caltrops, which gives you even more penetration, so it's not as big of a deal what weapon you have. But being a 1-bar setup, Maul for solo content probably is going to be your best bet just for that extra penetration. Balance Blade, you definitely want this for the cost reduction on your Brawler. And then Battle Rush is very nice for just clearing through trash. 30% bonus stamina recovery for 10 seconds is really strong. If you're using the 2-bar setup, make sure you get your bow passives. That's going to be important as well. Medium armor passives also, we talked about wearing 7 pieces of medium. That's because you get bonuses for every single piece of medium armor that you're wearing. So more weapon critical, more stamina recovery and stamina cost reduction, more weapon damage. Used to be you only needed 5 pieces of medium to get this bonus. Used to get 15% for 5 pieces. Now you get Now you only get 2% per piece, so you need 7 pieces to max this out. In athletics, you get the cost reduction, roll dodge reduction. And then, of course, yes, you'll want all of your racial skills, even alchemy, medicinal use, to make your potions last longer. Make sure you get those. So let's jump into champion points, and I'm going to show you on the PTS the Blackwood champion points. These have changed very slightly from the Flames of Ambition champion points. If you want to see those, I'll have those in the written guide. I'll also have options for 300, 600, 900, and 1200 CP. But for now, here's what I'll be using for the Blackwood chapter. In the green tree, we've got 50 into Steed's Blessing. I always start there. Extra movement speed is always good. Then come over, put 50 into Gilded Fingers. Extra gold, also always good. And then I'm just going to move up. So Fortune's Favor, Wanderer, that's going to unlock Breakfall. So some reduced fall damage is kind of nice, especially within the zones that have higher elevations. Steadfast Enchantment did get changed, but I still like this. It now gives you a 50% chance to not consume a charge. So basically your weapon enchants are going to last about 50% longer, which is kind of nice, just a quality of life kind of thing. Treasure Hunter, of course, is good for the extra quality of items you'll get from treasure chests. Rationer gives you some bonus time on your food. And then Liquid Efficiency gives you the chance not to use a potion. That's what I'd recommend there. In the blue tree, so first you'll go into Precision, then unlock Extended Might. I recommend maxing out Piercing, as well as Battle Mastery, and then Mighty. Mighty is nice because it gives you extra weapon damage applied to all your offensive abilities. From there, that's going to unlock the hand on the right side. Best one right away is going to be Biting Aura. 50 points here is going to increase your damage done with area of effect attacks by up to 10%. So especially on the 1-bar setup, this is going to give us the most damage. So this buffs both Subterranean Assault and Brawler. If you're running the 2-bar setup, you can also add something for damage over time. You could add Thaumaturge as well, because with the extra back bar, we'll be running at least 3, maybe even 4 dots at that point. Thaumaturge will be worth it. If you're not doing that, then I would just recommend picking up Fighting Finesse, extra crit damage and crit healing, and then Wrathful Strikes for the extra weapon damage. You also can get that from Untamed Aggression, even more weapon damage. So all in, that's about 900, a little bit less than 900 champion points. If you have more champion points beyond that, then you can come down here, put 20 points into Tireless Discipline, and then start putting points into Staving Death. This is still your defensive sub-constellation. You can max out Quick Recovery, as well as Preparation. This now gives you 10% damage reduction for only 20 points, which is really good. And then you can also put points into Elemental Aegis to guard from magical attacks, and then 20 points into Hardy to guard from those physical attacks. And then finally, let's talk about the red tree. I'm still going to recommend that you start over here on the left, especially for this build. 50 into Boundless Vitality, that's extra health. 50 into Ironclad for the extra armor. 50 into Rejuvenation, that's all of your recoveries, health, magicka, and stamina. So really good investments here. From there, you can kind of work up from Sprinter, Hasty, and Hero's Vigor. Again, you'll need less points now in the Blackwood chapter to max these out. They've been basically cut in half. But once you get up to Hero's Vigor, either way, you can then decide what do you want for your last slotted star for red CP. A couple of good options would be Bloody Renewal, so this gives you extra stamina sustain, up to 1500 stamina back when you kill an enemy. That's a really good one. If you're focused more on like single target, maybe boss encounters, what I like is Bastion. This buffs your Brawler damage shield by 15%, so that's what I've chosen for this build. If you have more points beyond that, you can just unlock some of these passive stars. These don't need to be slotted, so Tumbling, reduce your cost of roll dodge. Defiance, reduce your cost of break free. And then even over here, Tireless Guardian, reduce the cost of block. And Fortification, increase the amount of damage you can block. And that's what I would recommend there. Again, I will have different setups for 300, 600, 900, and 1200 CP over in the written guide, so make sure you check those out. So now companion builds is something that we can start thinking about for the Blackwood chapter. And since I'm on the PTS, I went ahead and tested different versions of companions with this solo Stamina Warden build. And I'll try to do this with a lot of my upcoming solo builds as well. What companion is going to be best for basically optimizing this build? Now for the Stamina Warden, it felt like having my companion set up as a healer was going to be the optimal way to go for this. Specifically, I chose Miri as the companion for the healer role. She has a really nice ranged heal over time, which I'm a big fan of, and then you can combine that with some restoration staff skills and a couple of Undaunted skills for a really powerful backup healer, essentially, that's going to help keep your solo build alive through some tougher content. So again, I would recommend checking out Miri as a healer. The other companion, Bastion, he can heal as well, so don't rule him out. It's just that Miri is my preference right now for healer builds, but that might change over time. Now, if you want to see all the details about companion skills, the skill lines they come from, how to get them, different gear traits, I'll have that outlined in the written guide. That's going to be a new section that I'm adding to the website. But for now, just a quick overview of how to set up Miri as a healer. Restoration staff and 7 pieces of light armor, that would be the way to go. Quickened is a very good trait if you can get this because it does reduce the cooldown of her healing abilities. And then as far as those skills, we've got Blood Transfusion. That's one of her class-based healing skills. Crimson Font is an Undaunted skill similar to Blood Altar. Then Rejuvenation is basically your regen from the Restoration staff. Mystic Fortress is a nice emergency damage shield. And then Reverse Entropy is from the Mage's Guild skills for companions. That's another nice heal over time. And then her ultimate is called Impeccable Shot. And last but not least, that brings us to the outfit style. And this is just a mix of different styles, actually. If we go to armor styles to check this out. For helmet, we've got Dreadhorn. And then for most of the body pieces, like chest, that's going to be Mazatoon. That combined with the Cold Snap Goblin style. All right, everybody, and with that said, that's going to wrap up our update to the solo Stamina Warden Beastmaster build, one of my all-time favorites. Hope you guys enjoyed this or you found it informative. Of course, if you did, don't forget to crush that like button. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. And stay tuned for many more builds and updates coming soon for the Elder Scrolls Online. And if you have any questions at all on the build, if you want to see more details about skills, champion points, 1-bar or 2-bar skill setup, make sure to check out that written guide. Link is in the description and the pinned comment down below. Lots of good information there for you. With that said, go ahead and check out the gameplay here at the end. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you're doing well, stay safe out there, and I will see you around in the next video.